quite the cheap seats, please. Okay, everybody, good afternoon. I hope you're having a wonderful time in Texas as long like I am. This is the second barbecue meal of the day I've had, and I'm loving it at the moment. I'll begin with showing you what I'm going to be talking about tonight. It is titled Silent Destiny. It's the tragedy of Holy. As you can see, this is one of the most powerful, evocative images taken during the D-Day campaign of the glider operations that happened on the 6th and 7th of June 1944. This image has always captured my imagination. It kind of depicts the true horrors of war. It depicts the true courage that the glider pilots and the glider infantrymen went through on those fateful days. But there isn't much information out there, really, regarding this image, and that always bugged me. So I kind of really wanted to know where it was taken, who was on board, and why did it crash. So, from the image itself, from the high resolution images that's available online, we can see one thing, one little clue that could help us on this journey of trying to find out more information. And that was its serial number. Serial number of the Horsa Glider was LJ135. For some of you who can see me pointing now, there. So from there, we can kind of looking at how we can find more information regarding this Horsa Glider. And one of the best sources for us researchers for glider operations during D-Day was the 82nd Airborne Division, compiled a very, very thorough statistical study on the glider landings, and each particular serial of the D-Day campaign had its own table, which has information on the serial numbers of the gliders involved, which units they took, which unit the glider itself was from, the airfield they took off from, and whether the glider was serviceable, damaged, or completely destroyed during landing. So we had a look through the entire tables, and there's a few of them on the list, and luckily some of the tables had more specifics than others and had details about the serial numbers of each glider. And luckily for us, LJ135 was on that list, and lo and behold, we found out that she was there. 034 from Ramsbury Airfield with the location of its landing zone going to be called landing zone W. This was great. This was really, really jackpot news for me, because I am from the town of Swindon, which is 18 miles away from Ramsbury Airfield. So this made it kind of personal for me, because this was now my local airfield that this was taken off from. And today we've got a couple of guys from the 437th here who took off on D-Day from Ramsbury Airfield. So it's an honour to come and do this presentation for them, really. So this information was really, really good, because it gave us information for LJ135 that it carried 29 men on board, 14 with KIA, 15 evacuated, and the location of its landing was 2,000 yards southeast of its original landing zone. But we take that with a pinch of salt most of the time, because it wasn't really accurate due to the information that was being compiled and given from the glider infantrymen on board, and they were guesstimating really on where they were landing. So from there we went on then to kind of figure out, okay, so we now know the serial number, we now know the group that the Horsa was from, the 437th. So my next step then, luckily from my good friend Neil Stevens, he has compiled a lot of information on 437th. This really is his passion in life. And he had obtained the glider mission orders for the 3 serials of the 437th flew on D-Day on the 6th and 7th of June. And we started looking through those lists to see if LJ35 was indeed listed, and it was. It was indeed listed, and it was in serial 34, as predicted, and it was glider number 1 in that formation. Interestingly enough, the captain of the C47 that told them was Colonel Cedric Hudgens. He was the commanding officer of the 437th, and he was suffering very bad abdominal pains in the days before D-Day, but kept it kind of quiet, and because he wanted to lead his men and didn't want to be pulled off flying duty, and he flew these guys into Normandy, but they kind of suffered because of it, and because on the 12th of June he died, he collapsed and died due to the problems he was getting with his abdominal kind of insides, and unfortunately his devotion to duty obviously cost him his life, and he's buried now in England. So we now know, so we had the serial number, we knew the group, and now we know the names of the 2 pilots. Flying Officer Richard G. Mercer and First Lieutenant George G. Parker. So next step was to find out, okay, so we now know they're from the 437th, but which squadron were they from? So one of the best sources of information really was the air medal rosters that's available, and luckily Patricia Overman had kindly given me a lot of information regarding the Troop Carrier Command, and a lot of the general orders for the air medals was in those lists. And GO33 is the listing for all the glide pilots during the Normandy campaign, and it was a simple matter of going through each list for the 437, going through each squadron until we hit jackpot again. And lo and behold, George Parker and Richard Mercer were listed in the 86 Troop Carrier Squadron. Now from the list, it shows that Richard Mercer unfortunately died during the crash, and but it looks like George Parker had miraculously survived the crash and was still flying. So now are the names of the 2 glider pilots, which was remarkable considering that the only thing we had at the start was the serial number of the Horsa Glider. So the 2 pilots, George Parker, First Lieutenant. He was born in Durand, Wisconsin, born on the 9th of January 1915. He completed his glider training at Dalhart Army Airfield, course 4225, graduating on the 5th of December 42, and afterwards was assigned to the 86 Troop Carrier Squadron 437 Troop Carrier Group. And that's a photograph of him there. Interesting, this is a photograph of him in civilian gear. All the glider pilots had a photograph taken in civilian clothing, and they carried 2 copies just in case they had to ditch in enemy territory, and then the resistance would assist them, and these photographs would be given to them, and they'd be making fake papers for them. So this photograph was kindly donated by the son of another glider pilot from the 86, Aubrey Thompson. So Flying Officer Richard G. Mercer, he was born in Wichita Falls, Texas, on the 27th of December 1920. He completed his glider training in Stuttgart Army Airfields, graduating from course 43-3 on the 3rd of February 1943, and assigned to the 86th Troop Carrier Squadron. Now, unfortunately, no photograph could be found of him, so his face has remained a mystery, which is unfortunate. So, 034 for mission galvanizing. 18 Horsa gliders and 32 CG-4A gliders were involved in this serial, carrying 717 glider infantrymen from 1st Battalion 325th Glider Infantry Regiment 82nd Airborne Division, and HQ and Company A of the 307th Airborne Engineers 82nd Airborne Division. Also, 17 jeeps, 9 field artillery pieces, and 19,500 pounds of equipment and ammunition was on board. Horsa LJ135 would carry 29 men from Company A 325th Glider Infantry Regiment. Now, from the reports that we've got from the official war diaries of the 437th, takeoff for the serial happened on the 7th of June at 04:39, with the formation taking 35 minutes to assemble, and they had a destination of LZW at LJ135 in Normandy. So the first thing they had to go for was the beacons that was there for navigational purposes to make sure that they were going on the right course, otherwise they'd be shot down by the naval forces in the channel. So the first beacon of Flatbush was reached, followed by Gallup. There they did a left-hand turn and began setting course all the way from Normandy using pilotage and dead reckoning. The beacons of Spokane and Paducah were not used. Due to reports filtering back to 53rd Troop Carrier Wing, from 030 Mission Elmira, the LZW was having intense ground fire and permission was obtained to move the route and the LZ further to Utah Beach. There they assumed there would be less ground fire due to the airborne forces that had already taken over most of the villages around that area. So the new route received a regional landfall south of Bank to Grand Bay and reached the new LZ, which was now located 1 mile west of St. Marie-de-Mont. 034 arrived over the LZ area around 6:55 in the morning on the 7th of June, some 5 minutes ahead of schedule. The formation was flying low, extremely low. From the reports in the war diaries, they were flying at an altitude between 300 and 200 feet and released the gliders at a height. Now this height didn't give the glide pilots much chance of finding a decent field, and they would only have approximately 30 seconds to identify a good location for landing, especially since they were overloaded with ammunition as well. But from the reports we got as well, all the C-47s that took part in this serial did a left-hand turn and did a return journey of the same route as what they'd taken and received only small to moderate ground fire, but no damage was done to the C-47s. Now this is a photo I've recently obtained showing a couple of Horsa gliders, and you see in the background as well, there's the C-47s towing another Horsa. Now this was in Normandy, and the gliders are being released over the LZ. Now we don't know for sure which serial this is, nor the day, but it kind of gives you an impression of exactly how it must have looked from the ground for these gliders coming in. So the excellent team at the Whitebeam Battlefield Research Forum, led by Pat Curran, has been researching quite a bit of the glider landings in Normandy, and they were very, very good at kind of identifying that most of the reports and captions for this photograph was kind of assuming that the glider landed around the Holding area, which is kind of west of St. Marie-de-Mont by about a mile. So they obtained an excellent aerial reconnaissance photo that was taken on the 12th of June, and it is a high resolution photograph which is really, really good, and as you can see there's quite a few glider landings in this area. So from the top right hand corner you will see the town of St. Marie-de-Mont, and from there following the road south down to Vierville, and that would lead all the way down to Parentan. Now it's interesting to see how the groupings of the gliders occur. So we've got one grouping on the south of the photograph, and then there's a grouping which is more difficult to see in this photograph just to the north of there, but about half a mile south of St. Marie-de-Mont. But we'll want to look at this area here. This is where we think this glider landed. So we'll zoom in and see what happens. So now you can see that the town of St. Marie-de-Mont is in the top right hand corner, and we have gliders in the lower portion of what you can see. Now there was one interesting thing about this area. The little hamlet of Leholdy had a German gun battery, which was unknown by planners, D-Day planners. They were located in a tree line. If you can see, I wish I had an arrow with me really. But just to the north of where my blue arrow is at the moment was a 4-gun battery containing 405mm German howitzers, which would aim towards Utah Beach. Now luckily they were taken out by 101st paratroopers from the 502nd and the 506 on the 9th and 6th of June, so they weren't a problem for the glider landings. Now we can see that from where my blue arrow is pointing, this is LJ135. This little smudge is what remains of the glider. So Horsa LJ135 with Mercer and Parker at the controls was released between San Marino and Hamlet of Leholdy. The field they selected was approximately 200 metres in length and 160 metres in width, with what appears to be a shallow stream on one end. Three sides of the field surrounded by tall trees. The trees in Normandy is taller than what you can assume, and I think that could have been their problem. But from the glider crash, the first on the scene was a 101st Airborne paratrooper medics, led by Captain George Laggy from the 2nd Battalion 502nd Airborne Division. He was the 2nd Battalion surgeon, and his team of medics had set up an aid station at the Hamlet of Leholdy. Now, on the evening of the 6th of June, during the initial glider landings, they commandeered a jeep and trailer from one of the horses. It was destined to be for the 82nd Airborne, but the 101st Airborne got there first. So as you can see from the photograph, they've whitewashed the 82nd Airborne markings from the bumper. Captain George Laggy is to the right, and he was an avid photographer and took with him, against orders, rows and rows of black and white and Kodachrome film. And it's very thankful that he did, because not only did his medics start triaging the injured from the glider crash, he started taking photographs. So these have been kindly given to me by Mark Bando, one of the most avid historians of the 101st Airborne, and these literally are minutes after the glider crash happened. So as you can see, the bodies on the front of the glider covered by parachute material. And then here's some of his medics starting to begin first aid with some of the glider infantrymen that was on board. The scene was quite catastrophic from history, with death and destruction all over, but they did an excellent job in triaging the injured, and luckily medics from the 4th Infantry Division had arrived from Utah Beach with ambulances and began to get the injured evacuated to field hospitals immediately. In this photograph you can see the commandeered 82nd Airborne jeep and trailer being used, and then obviously the Horsa Glider in the foreground and the background, as well. So not only was a photograph taken, but not soon afterwards a signal corps crew had arrived from Utah Beach, and they actually did a little bit of filming of the scene as well. So this is a small, tiny little clip of the scene that encountered them. The fire in the background is probably a crashed Horsa glider that landed in the lane that connects Holy to the smaller village of Veerville. Now the quickest way to clear a glider crash, especially a Horsa, is to burn it. So they must have set fire to the Horsa, burnt it to the ground, and that would have left the lane open and free for use. So this is it, this is the photograph. So Horsa Glider LJ135 with Mercer and Parker controls is, with my theory, they must have crashed upon landing due to the extreme low altitude that they were released, the tall trees, and I believe that they must have smashed into the trees coming into land in this field. It was the most catastrophic glider crash during the Normandy campaign, and the one which had the most KA, with 15 in total. Flying Officer Richard Mercer, the commanding officer of Company A, 325th Light Infantry Regiment, First Lieutenant Terence Jim Gailey, and 14 of his men perished in the crash, with the remaining 15 sustaining injuries so bad that they were all evacuated from Normandy. So this is the field now in modern times. So it's been returned to Arab Grove farming. They grow, I believe, maize every year. But on the 6th of June, 7th of June, this is how it looks. So the maize is very, very tiny at the time. There is no monument, no marker, nothing present. It's just a field with nobody knowing what happened there 72 years ago. But last year I kind of made a mission to kind of change that. So I decided I wanted to kind of do something to honour the 15 men that died that day. So I decided to erect a small little memorial at the closest hedgerow to the crash site. So last year, on the 7th of June at 7 o'clock in the morning, I planted these, what we call memorial markers, to honour the men. It's not much, considering the extent of the markers and memorials as out in Normandy, but it's at least something to honour them. I returned to Normandy again this year, as I do every year, and was pleased to see that the markers were still in place. So, 72 years ago to the day, I spent a little time there. This is pay respects to Flying Officer Richard Mercer and the 14 other men who died. So, that is me this year, really. I do a little bit of reenacting in the time, so up there I'm always reenacting a glider pilot, so I thought it was only fitting. But I'm very pleased to say that more people have been asking about the location of these markers, and it looks like quite a few people have now gone to visit the site, so at least the message is actually getting through to people that something quite significant happened at that field. So hopefully, Flying Officer Richard Mercer is not forgotten, and somewhere he's a little bit thankful that we are remembering him. So, I thought that was going to be the end of my kind of research into the crash, but I want to do a little bit more, I thought. So, start of the year, I commissioned an artist, a very, very talented English artist named Derek Roy, and he said, right, let's do a depiction of LJ135's final moments before he crashed. So, we did this. This is called Silent Destiny. This is our theory of what happened to LJ135, where it's lost its left wing after ripping through the trees, and obviously the loss of the wing has made the glider start to roll, where it's ended up on its back. There may be a little bit of artistic license involved, because obviously we don't know for sure exactly what happened, but this is our theory, and yeah, I hope you like it. If anybody's interested, I have a few copies with me that I've brought across from England, and they are for sale over the next few days. So that was it, really. The only thing missing for me really was Richard Mercer, and not knowing what he looked like, and not knowing where he was buried, really. That information we just couldn't find on the internet at all. We'd spoken to a lot of people, and we had a few photographic albums from veterans from the 86, and there was nothing in them, unfortunately. However, about 2 months ago, I had assistance from a really, really talented girl from the States called Katie Mishler. She is not shy in phoning somebody up and going, "Are you the daughter of, or the son of?" And she went to town to try and find some information about Mercer, and she hit trumps. She found that he had a daughter. Now, before he enlisted in the army, he was married, divorced before he joined up, but he had a daughter. And Katie found her and spoke to her, and she had photographs. And may I present Flying Officer Richard Mercer. This is him. So we assume this is sometime in 1943 these were taken, probably in Wishaw Falls where he was born. But it's finally fantastic to actually put a face to the name, and he's a handsome guy. And cut short in the prime of his life, unfortunately. But not only did she have photographs of him, she had a photograph of his temporary marker in Normandy. So this is rare, this is very, very rare. This is a handful, I know, of the temporary markers that were placed in the Lowville Temporary Cemetery in Normandy. Now, we kind of been looking into the grave registration details and histories, and we believe that Mercer had initially been buried at the temporary cemetery at Chateau Colombier in Heasville, but was disinterred only a few days later to be properly buried in the cemetery at Lowville. Now, eventually, most of the dead from Lowville got disinterred and were taken to the Côte-de-Sommer main cemetery, which is where it's the most beautiful cemetery you probably see in Normandy, really, and but it looks like Mercer's family didn't want that to happen, and they wanted him to be brought back to Texas. And luckily for me, Katie went to town again, and she phoned up a local veterans group in Wichita Falls and said, "Do you know of a Richard Mercer?" And they said, "Yes. We keep records of all the veterans from Wichita Falls, and we know of him, and we know where he's buried." And here's his grave. This is where he's buried. He's buried in Wichita Falls, and so you are some of the first people to ever see his grave outside of his own kind of Veterans Association in Wichita Falls. So one day, I hope to visit Wichita Falls. I really should have made my journey, or made my stay in Texas a little bit longer this week, but unfortunately not. But I'll be back, and I'll be visiting his grave, and hopefully paying my respects in person. But yeah, it's
an awesome full journey really for him, and we've completed a really, really enjoyable and satisfying kind of journey into researching probably the most famous glider photograph there is going. So, thank you very much for your time.